ngimtholile nangu uthi useZimbabwe kodwa ngimbambile ula yeah sinifuni vele ayithi kuthiwa put South Africans first nifunani
not us, don't say South Africans.
Sure.
Just say Africans. Put Africans first.
Yes. Then, sorry, the good bishop or ex-bishop. I'm really happy to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Thank you so much.
I can't ex anything. It's like saying my ex-mother-in-law, my ex-house, my ex.
No, but you're an ex-bishop. The Isonto kicked you out.
They wish they could kick me out, but it's not easy to. You can't be disappointed by what you never appointed.
Jeez, okay.
I've never been. They never called me into ministries. They never called me into space. So how do you fire me?
It wasn't them who invited you.
You were never my boss in the first place.
Come on.
My conscience was my boss. It's my conscience that invited me into participation in the ministry.
Sure.
So when my conscience says we have done enough here for 33 years, let's move higher.
Sure.
To another platform of operation. How do I disobey myself to make you happy as an institution?
Sure.
We are growing.
No, thank you. So obviously a lot of people, two things. Number one, a lot of people know you as to be based in Zimbabwe full-time now. And then number two, there's a video that came out of you basically saying you're preparing for your death. And it scared a lot of people. And I got a lot of messages from people that know you as my mentor, as Wabwami, as one of my guides.
But are you my son?
I want to see your fan.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
Because as Africans, we believe we don't die.
Yes.
Energy does not die. It just transforms itself into other elements.
Which is also science.
Sciences. And if you look at the Kemetic knowledge system, it's not a mystery that pharaohs spent their days building their pyramids.
Sure.
And their pyramids were their graves. So that by the time you die, you are placed in your place of rest.
Yes.
And I think there's nothing wrong. I am building my pyramid. I will build my sepulchre. I will build my grave. Yes. With this flesh.
Are you safe though?
I'm not safe, but that's another story.
Okay, wait. Let's start with Zimbabwe. I think that one's easier because everyone now is calling you a ZANU PF puppet. Are you currently working with ZANU? And if so, in what capacity? Because I know you've always been passionate about Zimbabwe, going back home, giving back, and you feel a lot of Zimbabweans they mustn't abandon their home because Zimbabwe was a huge economy. I think it was at some point the biggest economy on the continent, and at some point Zimbabweans need to go back and fix their home.
A ship is at sea, and passengers are on board.
Yes.
300 kilometers into the sea. Then people discover that the ship is not going in the direction they want it to go.
Yeah.
There are few options. You tell all the passengers, let's jump. Let's swim back for 300 kilometers and start another journey. Yes, if you are strong enough, you will make it with a few of them. But I can bet you that many of you are going to become breakfast for the sharks.
Of course.
Option number two, let's strike in the ship and make lots of noise in the ship.
Yeah.
So that the captain can know that we're not happy at the back.
Sure.
But the captain is still driving.
Sure.
Option number three, let's go and push the captain away from the steering rod.
Sure.
So that we can drive.
Okay.
But then after killing the captain, you discover that none of you can actually sail this boat.
Sure.
Option number four, let's go and speak to the captain. Bring options.
Sure.
How we can move this ship.
And capture the captain's mind.
Capture the captain's mind.
Yes.
So that he can actually begin to see we're going southeast.
Sure.
We need to be going towards southwest.
Sure.
So I decided when I left South Africa that instead of joining those that are dancing and jumping around the ship, instead of joining those that are saying let's jump and swim, I'm too old now to swim for 300 kilometers. Instead of being found with my hands around the captain, choking him to death.
Sure.
So I tried to reach out to the opposition party, which was then MDC at the death of Tsongirai.
Yeah.
Say, I'm coming back. How can we join hands together for 5 years?
Sure.
The leadership, even the leader Chamisa himself, avoiding him. They never responded by phone call, by WhatsApp. I got all the numbers. I sent messages for 5 years. They would not talk.
Yeah.
When I was getting to Zimbabwe, I phoned the president's office, and in less than 3 days, the president was ready to meet me.
Nangabo.
Yes, himself. And he said,
That's beautiful.
"Welcome, sir. I hear you are coming back into the country.
Yes.
What is the problem?" He said, "I want to help build Zimbabwe. How are you going to help us?" Okay, I'm going to help you in 1, 2, 3 in terms of media, positive stuff, and etc. And etc.
Sure.
So where do you think we're going right? Where do you think we're going wrong? I think if we can fix this, the youth are not happy, unemployment, beneficiating of our resources.
Yes.
So I shared with my mind. I said, "No, please, welcome. And feel free."
Option
to
number
work
4,
with.
try and capture the captain so you can steer the ship
Chief,
where it has to go.
For me, it is the best option.
Sure.
And until we understand maybe the science also, that while we are on ship, there are other elements from elsewhere that are influencing us to kill each other
Yeah.
so that they can capture the ship. It's possible
Sure.
in this midst of political conversation. But for me, I'm neither a ZANU enthusiast, I am neither a CCC enthusiast, I'm a progress enthusiast. If CCC right now, Chamisa, can build a road, hallelujah. If
Sure.
Chamisa can clean up Harare, hallelujah. If Nangagwa builds an airport, hallelujah.
Sure.
If the other party can build a clinic, I'm there. Because I've been here for 33 years,
Yeah.
long. And I'm saying to myself, the amount of junk news that we're consuming in diaspora, of the corruption and bad things that are happening in Zimbabwe, I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're not happening.
Yes.
But when you get to the ground and you find that there are good things happening there also.
Sure.
Oh, come on, guys.
They're not
Even if
making
your
it to the
wife,
media.
She gives you good sex. She cleans up your shoes. Come on, guys. She cooks good food.
Yeah.
And then the other day she forgets to make your bed.
Sure.
And then you want to make an issue
Of
the
the bed.
things that the thing she is failing to do. And you forget the 10, 15 things. I think the weakest link on this whole conversation is not only ZANU-PF as a structure,
Yeah.
but Mugabe as a leader. We cannot account for the 30 years plus that Mugabe was in power in terms of infrastructure development. We cannot account for the amount of dilapidation that happened in the hospitals, on the roads, and on infrastructure when he was a leader.
Yeah.
Mnangagwa comes with the Second Republic, and within a matter of 2 to 3 years, I'm not joking, we begin to see sparkles
Okay.
like in the insurance company. They're moving files from the old mutuals, beginning to put them on an indigenous economic system. Standard Bank is just closed, by the way, out of the country. And
In Zimbabwe?
An indigenous bank.
That's
owned
beautiful.
fully by Zimbabweans.
Okay.
Is walking into the space.
That's progress.
British Petroleum, Engen, Total, they closed the country. Kudakwa Shetagiri, Trek and other guys organized the pipeline to Beira and etc. Now fuel is fully controlled by Zimbabweans. Our wheat, guys like such as Kwande and the rest of them are now plowing wheat. Our bread is now coming local. So for me, we don't need to apologize. The African economy must be in the hands of the African.
Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah.
Because as long as we think that you need a white man in your economy so that your economy, when it has a white blood, then it will survive.
Sure.
You will be shocked that the American government does not have a Chinese man supplying weapons for them. They have an American company which has a corrupt relationship with the American government. The British Parliament.
Sure.
They have a British man, Lord Soms, Lord Watlord, who are supplying stuff for the British government, and they have a corrupt relationship with the government.
Yeah.
And it has been going on for years. The Queen has been in power for 70 years.
Yeah.
Who has ever spoken about dictatorship?
Of course.
Of course, but it's okay when the Queen kills Zwelithini, kills Khosmangmang,
Haibo.
kills Khosmangmang, and then,
Kills.
of course, we have more than 18 kings and chiefs in Zimbabwe who are being used, their heads are being used as trophies in the British Museum for the Queen's amusement.
Okay.
And you kill my king so that I can bow to you.
Sure.
And then this is democracy.
Sure.
But then we will forget that by not understanding our own ethnical value, we are putting our allegiance to a colonial system.
Sure.
So you begin to understand that Africans, like in South Africa, the banking system is in white hands.
Yeah.
The insurance system is in white hands.
Yeah.
The medical system is in white hands.
Yeah.
The best universities, Stellenbosch and Wits,
UCT.
in white hands. UCT,
Yeah.
in white hands. You get back into construction, the group 5s and etc., white hands.
Auditing
And then-
firms.
Then you come around.
White hands.
Then you come around. This is the part I want to speak this and say this clearly to my friend Julius Malema. Never again say in public media our economy. Don't say our constitution.
Yes.
Because you don't have a constitution that is black owned. You don't have a business and economy that is black owned. This thing of making blacks servants and slaves on a colonial factory system and blacks are only happy to be receiving a stupid little salary.
Sure.
We don't want to become servants. We want to become shareholders. We want to become stakeholders. Both in the production, in the raw material, in the processing, in the banking, in the insurance, and we want to own our things. Ask yourself the question, why are black people banning hospitals, banning roads, banning schools in South Africa?
Sure.
I'll tell you why. They have never felt like this infrastructure belongs
ours
to them. So they think that by banning a hospital, that is giving your grandmother diabetes tablets. Your grandmother.
Sure.
The day you're not happy with the government, guess what you ban? The very hospital that is looking after your own grandmother, because you have never felt entitled to the infrastructure that is coming into your own space.
Do you think Zimbabwe had to break down first for this supposed re-emergence, renaissance of sorts? Do you think South Africa needs to go through a similar thing?
Unfortunately, the white man does not change his habits.
Mugabe said that. He said he only trusts a dead white man.
The white man will never change.
Yeah.
The louder we say it, the better.
Sure.
They will always have their allegiance to themselves, to their system, to their multinational companies, and ultimately their allegiance is to the country of their birth.
Yes.
And as long as they are conduits of getting raw materials out of our spaces and moving them into Europe, let me tell you something that will mess you up. If Africa will close down the door on the supply of raw materials to the west, to the east, and to the west, to the north, the factories and the industries that Germany is priding itself in iron ore, making BMWs, Mercedes-Benz. China is breaking itself, making cell phones, iPhones, and computer. America is breaking itself, making clothes, Gucci, Versace, YSL, and etc. If Africa just drops its gates on its resources, 60 to 80% of the companies and industries and factories and manufacturing plants that are out there, from uranium to platinum to nuclear warheads to clothing to technology, will close down. And where will those jobs be found? They'll be found in Africa. Our problem is that our presidents have not understood fully the value chain, that you cannot produce more and you manufacture less.
Yeah.
Because you're only selling your material in its raw form.
Sure.
Immediately you beneficiate your raw material, you're increasing your labor power. But Europe, America, and China will not allow Africa to build factories, because immediately we build factories, we are shrinking their market.
Of course, that's exactly how it works.
Employment. So our governments are working in as puppets to manage the relationship between the manufacturers and the raw material suppliers.
Yeah.
So Africa, what must you do? Produce more material, produce more food.
I'll tell you.
We don't need to produce more. We need to manufacture more.
The same thing happens in this country, where you find areas like Stellenbosch, Cape Town, Mhlanga, Sandton. They make sure that they don't share and redistribute the wealth, even within this country. It's concentrated in parts, and it's exactly the same thing you're speaking about.
Share? Why must they share their material?
Yeah.
Why must they share? Because your government is happy to trade in raw materials. All right?
Yeah.
So you take platinum in Zimbabwe as raw material.
In Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
Is it Zimbabwe?
The Anglo.
No, is that how you say it? Zimbabwe?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
DZI.
DZI
means houses.
Zimbabwe.
Okay, means stones. Zimbabwe. Houses
with the G
built on stone. DZI.
At the end?
BGWE.
BGWE. Zimbabwe.
Which means houses built on stone.
Okay.
We build families first before we build a country.
Okay.
That's what the name literally means.
That's beautiful.
So you get raw material from Zimbabwe, 100 kgs, and you say it's ore. So how much is ore? It is 1 million. How much is 14% of 1 million? It is 140,000.
Sure.
So you pay the government 140,000 for the raw material.
Sure.
Bring the iron ore, the raw platinum into Rustenburg.
Yeah.
Inside that platinum is gold, is uranium, is manganese, and 16 other minerals.
Sure.
When Rustenburg finishes processing that, the 10 million, 100 million, or 100 kgs, which you paid the 140,000 for a million, now you're sitting on 150 million. Or then you don't take the money back to Zimbabwe to bank it, because you've already paid for it.
Sure.
The money is sitting in Swiss banks, sitting in Absa. 30% of all your deposits in South Africa, as far as minerals are concerned, are not South African minerals.
Jeez.
And then as South Africans, you look around and say, this. I'm not lying to you.
Our
You play
economy.
the Operation Dudula And I start Operation Dudula in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And I closed down the importation of raw material from our mines in Zimbabwe.
Sure.
Rustenburg, the diamond thing in the Kimberlite story, will close down.
Tobacco.
Tobacco, all the smokers will be up in arms in less than 2 weeks in this country. So stop playing this game. Yakadudula.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the politics around the region, because we're feeding from each other.
But you understand it, Tutula is about illegal foreigners, not legal. Or do you see it as the same?
Legal and illegal immigrants that are in a country. The amount of resources that Anglo Platinum is bringing into South Africa, in those billions, it's enough to look after the 150, 200,000 people that are struggling here. In fact, they're coming here following their own resources to come and work in the same operation and plants where you've stolen their minerals from. That's another perspective.
I don't want to talk about foreigners because I'm happy to see you as my father from Zimbabwe.
We're addressing this at the regional level.
No, I want you to come to my platform with DJ Smooth so we can actually address this, because I've spoken to Rutendo. I spoke to Rutendo and he was saying, you guys want to gang up on us and kill us. I'm like, come on, I used to live with you. Stop it. So I want us to speak about it on that platform. My bigger concern...
Tell DJ Smooth, we're cool. We're cool.
No, of course. Usbu was in Zimbabwe.
Yes, launching his more fire. Yes. I saw that. I could not come, but I sent a message of condolence, of camaraderie.
Sure.
And I told my friends to come and support. Yeah.
No, thank you. You were in hospital recently, number one, and then number two...
You would not miss that, would you?
Yeah, but look, the second thing is this video that came out where you were saying you're preparing for your death. That's my bigger concern, more than economies and stuff. Because as Ubabu Ami, I want to know that you're fine.
You want to know?
Fix this thing.
You want to know if your father will die, and you will hear about it on the social media that Maponga J has been butchered.
Yes, I want to know if you're okay. You were in hospital. Are you fine now?
My foot is much better, and I've recovered quite. It's here. If you wanted to see it.
What was wrong?
I got pricked by a piece of metal on the thumb, and I got hurt.
I don't know what we can use.
No, it's fine. It's somewhere there. I got hurt at the thumb.
Making me look like a yellow pony here.
Let me also try and put more fire on more.
Please use these things.
Don't worry.
Thank you. Nah, I'm a props.
Okay, somewhere there. You guys can see.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Here. I mean,
so you stepped on a piece of metal?
Yes, on a piece of metal. It hit me, and I delayed to go and get the tetanus injection.
Like a stubborn black man.
Yeah.
Like a stubborn black man. You don't want to get intervention.
When I finally discovered I had a problem, my foot was swollen, my ankle was swollen. So I ran into Harare and got an injection. Sure. Unfortunately, 3 days later after my injection, I had an appointment with Milk Stout here, Castle, for the Day of Our Ancestors. So I flew into the country, did the appointment. On my way from the international departures, going down to A27, it was a big distance. So these are the young men said, hey, let me push you. Maponga is in South Africa for treatment. You're supporting Zimbabwe there. Why not get
propaganda?
Why not get healing there?
Sure.
But we're grown-up boys.
Sure. So you're better now?
I'm okay.
No, I'm happy.
I was on a stick for almost a month and a half.
No, I'm happy. I know we spoke via text, but a lot of people were worried. Like I said, a lot of people obviously reach out to me, because we've spoken together, we've taken pictures together. So if they can't access
We've done programs together.
Yes, when they can't access you, they ask me, Baba, what's happening with Maponga? So I think it comes from a place of concern from them as well. And then the second one is this disturbing video now.
We have made enemies with the pharmaceutical industry.
The mafia.
They are right now the biggest companies that have declared profits during the COVID.
100%.
Because
they've broken records.
South Africa, overnight, they have 500 billion in their hands.
Yeah.
We don't know how long it will take you and your children.
Many generations.
To pay back.
Many generations.
It's not only South Africa. And this was just one trench.
Yeah.
So we don't know how many other trenches and treaties are in the background. And look at the 54 countries. And look at the whole world. So Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, the other Chinese one, etc. They're on the stock exchange right now. They're doing very well. because they have made money out of our sicknesses,
Yes.
etc. So we've made enemies in the pharmaceuticals. We've made enemies in the political space.
Who's we?
With you also.
I know. Oh, you mean those of us who are speaking truth
Those
to
of
power?
us who are speaking and condemning this thing,
Sure.
so they just identify one at a time. We've made enemies with the banking system.
Yes.
Because we've not supported the structure that is there. We've made enemies with multinational companies
Yeah.
who are ripping and robbing Africans. We've made enemies with the people.
Yes.
When we are shouting that she has been a thug of the highest order and she must own up.
She's the biggest thug.
She must own up to her responsibility of destroying civilization and destroying people and sanctioning the destruction of people to build her own empire. And up to date, she cannot come up and account for what she has done. So MI5 is not happy with that. We've made enemies with America in condemning the Ukraine things and the slave trade, etc. So right now, where we are, we have 1,000 ways to die.
Yeah.
You don't know who will be the first one to strike, but the system in its global space, from academic space to pharmaceutical space to fashion space, political space to economic space, every one of those mafias who have been involved in gunning down African leaders, we can never say we're exempted from them. Some of their puppets have started coming forward, threatening us in our inboxes, telling us they want to get rid of us. You are not worth living. If I have a gun, you are the first man I'm going to get rid of.
I've had a few death threats for the first time in my life this year.
But remember again, Panuel, when a fool is holding a gun and he says, I will shoot you, don't dare him.
No, of course. Of course.
All it takes for him is to
pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger. So when you begin to receive threats of that nature,
don't
take it lightly. So I am not feeling very safe. I'm not feeling very protected. And if ever anything should happen, it's not from a white man. It's going to be coming from a black man. And guess who is the biggest problem right now? Our religious people. Whose love for Jesus.
White Jesus.
Their love
for white Jesus.
For this blue-eyed boy supersedes.
You used to love him as well.
Their love. With knowledge.
You've broken up with him and such and done.
Tell me you never used to, you never loved.
Have you given old men a camera? We're struggling with the positioning. Use these props. These ones are the best.
Clips. Yeah, that's better.
It's too much light.
Yeah, that one was. Yeah, that's better. That's better. So with time, you understand that. Now, Panuel, here's your God here. Here's your God, Panuel.
That's all. Since we, on that day you looked quite defeated. Had something specific happened on that day? You look defeated. There's a point in the video where you look away in the distance and you just keep quiet, and it's almost we're almost trying to read your mind. What exactly is happening here? You look defeated. You're like, you know what? And the lady there, Shame, Dr. Sarah, was trying to comfort you. And you were like, please don't comfort me. Yeah. She's like, no, you won't die. You're like, don't comfort me. Yeah. This is happening because we've lost about John Magafuli, for example.
Look,
in Tanzania.
In as much as we are spiritual people, we are strong people.
Yeah.
But we're human.
Yeah.
There are times in life when the realities of the battle that you are engaged in almost tells you your capacity.
Sure.
I don't know. You're trying to lift up some weights and then you add more weights.
Sure.
And you try and pick up that thing and the weights tell you, then channel, you are now punching above your weight, kind of thing. And I think that for me, that particular day, I just been to the president's office in Namibia. I've been to I sat down with him, had some conversation, and in the midst of all this huge space you're moving, and you begin to see a broader picture of where you're going, and then you come to your boxes, and then you hear what people are saying. Honestly, you think they're being positive. And then people just come up, guns blazing. So I felt a bit depressed. It's at the height of success, but immediately move away from there, you like flop to a basement of rejection, condemnation, bordering on assassination. and it really hit me hard to say, I've not come to your house to ask for tea or sugar. All I'm trying to do is to run this African emancipation conversation. And your anger as a black man is, why are you doing it? Number one, who do you think you are? What makes you special?
One of the conversations you and I have had, which was one of my favorites, was asking you, why don't you set up your own religion? Why don't you set up your own way? And I remember at that time, your answer to me was, the minds of the Africans are still very hard. And as a farmer of thought, your whole thing is, it might not be my generation, maybe you guys or Panuel, and then maybe not even your generation. Our job is to try and soften the minds because they're not ready. You know, we've lost Makafuli, I've mentioned, Chris Ani, Bantu Bigo, we've lost to Sankara, we've lost Muammar Gaddafi. There are so many great leaders that were trying to change the landscape. And my question to you is, why are you still trying to be a liberator of black people? Why are you not moving more strategically and more quietly and hoping that, look, let me maybe just work in the background for now, because it seems like you're getting louder. Why are you looking to get louder and putting a target on your back?
There are two types of people you find. Those who choose their paths, and those whose paths chooses them. And I find myself in the latter, where I would have driven a career in the religious space for the longest of time, and retired with dignity and great respect.
Of course.
Into my grave.
The revered bishop who's done 50 years of great service.
And I can do that job.
Yeah.
I'm not giving myself credit. I can do that job 10 times better than
most.
Than the average.
No, we know it very well.
So I don't need to blow my own trumpet. Though in real life I can play my own trumpet.
Yes, we know that. And more instruments.
But then you look around and say, what is better? Just another sidetrack. I do this Facebook afternoon drive. I'm actually driving from SABC one afternoon.
Sure.
And I have my handset on my dashboard. And traffic is heavy. And I'm saying to myself, hey, let me talk to my people. I'd also just discovered there was a button on my phone.
That says live.
That could say live. So I punched it. Welcome one, welcome all. This is Maponga J Live, broadcasting from Johannesburg. And we're going to be talking about African issues and African fashion and design. I'm wobbling away. And this guy forced me and said, hey, Maponga, you're wasting good content on Facebook. You know, why not move this thing to Twitter, to YouTube, to whatever way there's more educated people who can appreciate what you're doing, commercialize this thing, you can make some money. I said, hey, I'm making money already. And if my calling is to share information with people, and you're saying Facebook is a ghetto, Facebook is a public space, Facebook is for common people.
It's the taxi rank.
Then I said, where are the people? Are the people on YouTube? So if I look at my own mother who is in Chirenzi in the bush there, who has access to internet once a week, once in a month, and electricity is off even once in 2 months. And I'm saying, why must I remove myself from where the people are to try and create a commercial platform so that only a few chosen who can afford, who are decision makers, can have access to information? So, no, I'll stay in the jungle. I'll stay in the public space. I'll stay with the common people.
The taxi rank.
I'll stay in the taxi rank because that's where the people are. So come with your comment therefore for how do I envisage, how do I see, and how do I drive. I think it's not about getting louder. It is scattering the seeds. Knowledge systems, IKS is my latest acronym I'm using right now.
Indigenous knowledge systems.
How do I get these indigenous knowledge systems to the people that need them badly? How can you, Manuel, go to your own house, put a garden, start eating from your own garden? How do you take, I like the other movement that you had started, buying from each other. As black people.
Buy black.
Putting money into each other's hands, supporting each other, growing together, and etc. And for me, this becomes a passionate calling of, if I'm louder, I think I'm louder to the people that need to hear my voice. And those who get offended with what I'm saying, I can tell you, they are Twitter and YouTube audience. Who are in the wrong space, by the way.
You're very right.
Because if you're offended by what I'm saying, it means that you're not poor. Because those that are poor and those that understand the situation, the condition of where they are, they are more than happy to, and they hear me well.
Yes.
So how stupid is this? That a PhD and a master's student cannot understand me.
Yeah.
And an educated person can understand me.
Yes.
So I'm not worried.
Sure. Your target audience is hearing you loud and clear.
I'm happy, and I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to say it.
How do we avoid death while making sure that we do best for Africans?
We cannot.
Because you know me, I don't know when last we spoke, but I don't want to be a black hero anymore. I don't want to die and be a statistic. I don't want to be a Lumumba, Sankara. I don't want to be these guys. I'm trying to move differently and hoping that in moving differently, I will, in another way, uplift as many black people as possible, but without looking like I'm alienating the incumbents. And that's me trying to move more intelligently, because I don't want to die for black people. Black people are not worth dying for, because so many leaders have died and black people have never retaliated. And I don't want to die for blacks.
One way of looking at it is that you are not going to die until you have achieved the reason for which you have come in here. You cannot explain a Mozambican woman who is delivering a child on a tree during a flood.
Sure.
No doctor,
I know that story.
no anesthesia, and she delivers the
I know
child.
that
And the
story.
child is still alive, by the way.
Yeah.
I saw the baby on the internet the other day, a couple of decades later.
Jeez, that's
Live
beautiful.
and well.
That's beautiful.
And then a woman in Sentin dies on an operation table
Of course.
with 10, 15 doctors surrounding her. You cannot explain a person falling from the 16th floor and only breaking their ankle. And explain a man who dies from a bathroom
Yeah.
and he slips from his tub to the ground and he dies.
Yeah.
Life is complex.
Sure.
A car is squashed to a matchbox,
Yeah.
and the man comes out with no scratch. The man is bummed by a motorbike, and the man dies. So life is not a human control. I think there's a divine supernatural element that runs around life.
Yeah.
Yes, 50 cents with how many bullets in his body.
I don't know, 913. Shout out to 50.
And one man gets a bullet,
One bullet, dead.
and the man is dead.
Yeah.
So
Straight
you
bullet.
cannot avoid death as a human perception of I can do this and this and this
Yeah.
to avoid death. That's not right. But in life, when you are granted life, live life to the fullest. Do what you can do. Yes, you may say I don't want to become a black messiah.
Yes, I don't.
But it's your decision.
Yes.
But it's
I realized what was going to happen if I moved in that way.
it's not your calling.
Sure.
It's your decision.
Sure.
But it's not your calling. Because
But I think I will do more for black people than black messiahs.
not everything is in your hands.
That's
You
also
say,
true.
In as much as you don't want to be a black messiah, but by saying Panuel is God and Panuelism, you're already saying I'm giving you another messianic solution
Sure.
to the same problems. So indirectly, you are just maybe changing strategy.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you cannot be involved in liberating the black mind, in the black consciousness movement, and in one way or the other. By simply saying that you are God, you already have 40, 50, 60% of the Christians saying that man does not deserve to live.
Of course.
So you've already created enemies.
I know that. I definitely know that. It's so funny. The Christians who worship Jesus, the same Jesus who was rebellious and who upset the King Herods of the day, are the same Christians bashing me today for almost walking in the light of the same person that they worship. It's the funniest thing to me.
And what's painful is that the same Christianity they would profess, which says love your enemies. I'm saying as a bishop now. It says love your enemies.
Sure.
And pray for those that persecute you.
Yes.
The same Christianity they profess to believe in
Yes.
does not teach them to love the one who thinks opposite to themselves.
It's the funniest thing. Sorry, I just want to send greetings. My brothers are here with me. I just want them to say hello.
Sanbonani.
Never know. Sure. I've got a mini audience here. Don't look at Bishop here busy going crazy. You've got an audience that's busy pumping him up in the back. But you're healthy,
I'm doing very
which
well.
makes me very happy.
Very, very well, very well. And I was not deported. I'm right here. I'm in South Africa, yes.
Exen check ID yakhe masiphuma la. Ngenze show home affairs corruption. Uthi ekuse Sibiza Operation Tutulo Nhlanhla Lux sheshe simhambise lo mjida.
Hayi uNhlanhla Lux ngiva amahemhem ukuthi ubaba wakhe from Zimbabwe.
Is it?
So kufanele sithumele imbuzi nje nemvu ukuthi hawu ncesini mama kaNhlanhla sasuka sashindo lakazi. If that man did not pay lobola, in my tribe we can pay the lobola.
Sure.
And akayihlisa umoya uNhlanhla. I know he's angry for whatever reason, but it can be spoken.
Can I speak on his behalf? Nhlanhla is a very sharp young man, and I think he's open to learning and listening to anyone and everyone who cares about black
It would be
people,
nice for me and
Africans.
Nhlanhla to be in one room
100%.
one day and we just
100%.
log in our heads.
I follow you on Facebook.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your
Thank you so much.
your post.
That really means a lot. This is my father. He's the one that makes me make noise on Facebook. Yes.
Salam alaikum.
If you're looking after your father,
Yes.
then that is the power behind it.
Thank you very much.
Greet our people also and tell them hello.
Hello, people.
Tell them your name.
Hello. My name is Ismail. I'm a fan of you.
Oh, Panwe.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And your name is?
I know,
This
I
is
know
Osama.
voice. Thank you so much, sir. It means a lot.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you very much. No, I think I can try and make that happen. So what Nhlanhla is doing, this is me speaking on his behalf. South Africans are angry. And you and I know that South Africans are xenophobic, not by choice, but by conditioning. Because the colonizers always believe in divide and conquer. They set up the borders so that we can hate each other. If you live in Babane, if you live in Maseru, you're closer to us than someone in Cape Town, and yet you're a foreigner. So they designed that. Nhlanhla is taking a mandate from the people of Soweto because he is trying to serve the people of Soweto. He believes in this democracy of saying, what do the people want? I will do what the people say I must do. And that's essentially all he's doing. But I know him personally. Very intelligent, young leader. And Joba Ngisho, I think he's willing to sit. You won't sit with him and he'll be angry. No, you must.
No, no,
I
I appreciate
awesome
it.
to have him
I mean,
sit.
if my comments of his maternal, paternal issues are a bit derogative, my apologies on that.
No, I don't think so.
But what I want to highlight to the young man is to say, think globally
Sure.
and then act locally.
He was in one of the African countries recently trying to build relations.
Yes, but what I'm driving at is that understand the gravity of your conversation
Sure.
in terms of the root cause of the issues.
Sure.
So that when you want to kill a snake, don't go about beating its tail.
Sure. Go for the head.
And the head is still shivering in
Sure.
the grass. Because just after hitting the tail, you may just find yourself getting beaten again
Sure.
on your heel.
Of course.
What are the issues we're looking at? As long as South Africa thinks that by building a strong South African economy at the expense of Lesotho,
Sure.
at the expense of Swaziland,
Sure.
at the expense of Namibia,
Sure.
at the expense of Botswana,
Sure.
at the expense of Zimbabwe. And by the way, Zimbabwe is 60% of your
Mozambique.
consumers. Zimbabwe is your highest trader.
Jeez, okay.
Are you aware of that? Zimbabwe is your highest trader in the region.
I know they're a big trade partner. I didn't know the percentage.
We are the biggest.
Sure.
We are the biggest of your consumers
In SADC.
in the SADC region. So if you don't understand your regional politics and your economic politics, and then you may end up actually destroying and creating enmity. There are more trucks that are going into Zimbabwe
Sure.
than anywhere else in China and in Europe. So by creating this issue, if we should just block out the border in Zimbabwe,
Yes.
how many jobs in the backdrop in manufacturing will actually fall back into the same lap that you're talking about? It's a disaster.
But you understand the nuance of what they call illegal. It's a colonial system. It's wrong. But it's this thing of me coming to your house unannounced and without asking. I think that's the main thing they're fighting for. But then other people, the wrong people, end up fighting.
Let me throw it on the other end
Sure.
of coming to your house unannounced.
Sure.
Amashangana akhona
Yes.
eGiyani.
Yes.
Amashangana akhona eZimbabwe.
Yeah.
Amashangana akhona eMozambique.
Yes.
All along the Limpopo, right into the Indian Ocean, on both sides of the river, wherever that river is flowing.
Yeah.
The Shanganes and the vendors are running on both sides.
Sure.
So if you say I come to your house unannounced, also put into cognizance that these people that are across the river
Yes.
are directly related to each other.
100%.
And
Even here, I go Lesotho and I go Swatini.
I cannot even go that far because
Yeah.
then we start discussing Wakhalima Mutante.
Sure.
Who happens
Some of our
who
bigger-
happens to be like his father now.
Sure.
His roots being
Oh, I've
Lesotho.
seen that picture.
and I don't know if that is true or not. I can still confirm on that.
Putuma Nhleko, for example, is a big business player in this country.
Was
From Eswatini.
MTN, and stuff like that. We can go on and on.
Yeah, we can go on and on.
But the issue is not to isolate him in that. But it's to understand that we cannot glorify the white man and demonize the black man, who is by blood literally related to you, with no mixing of words.
I don't want to speak about foreigners because this is such a difficult topic.
Yeah. 60% of Mpumalanga
yes
is
Swati, that's true.
80% of Bloemfontein and Free State
is Sotho. Yes. Then you've got the Tswanas
another
coming
60%
down.
of Botswana is Botswana.
Yeah.
And the whole northern province going that way is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe used to come as far as Louis Trevor.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The Lubombo Mountains were actually, so the Venda people, we used to call them Babenda. What they call Toy and Do is Soror and Zou. The Vendas and the Shonas are actually intertwined. When the ancestors of the Venda come out, they speak Karanga, which is my mother tongue. And you look at this ethnic connectivity of the nation, and the problem we have as Africans is not only amongst each other. It's not necessary to fight over economic issues. Because economic issues can be dealt with if we have a correct political system that addresses the white man as a serpent in the house. As long as the multinational companies are running our industries and they put these regions amongst ourselves, who constantly think that we're enemies of each other. But of the products that Rustenburg is producing, you have, how many sheikhs do you have in Marikana?
Yeah.
How many sheikhs do you have in Rustenburg?
Yeah.
But how many billions are walking out of Marikana every month?
Not me, London mining.
Are we happy to be receiving 5-10% of change when your house underneath you has millions and billions that can change your life forever? So it's not right that we can fight each other. The Chinese are here, the Pakistanis are here, the Americans are here, the Europeans are here. So if you're going to do Operation Dudula, I suggest you only don't look at the illegal immigrants on the Zimbabwean side. The illegal immigrants in all their forms, but the most illegal immigrants are the colonizers who have legitimate passports.
Who never came here on our invitation.
You're missing it.
Yeah.
The real illegal immigrants are the Europeans who have legal documents to be here, but they're doing business illegally. How do you account for the Chinaman who is putting money under his bed and shipping it and converting it into US dollars and shipping it back to Beijing to his home? And that money is not accounted for. Of course, I can't say much about our president who has been found with a couple of millions in his own
doing
house.
The same thing.
I mean, those cows,
Mattress Bank.
Those cows that he is selling here for 160 million, they're going for 12,000 in
Uganda.
Come on, guys, let's talk business. And if your parliament and your constitution says you can't keep more than 25,000 in your house unaccounted for, how do you speak for 4 million found in your house and you are the first citizen of the country?
It's obvious what's going on.
We begin to have a conversation that is more civilized and say, if we are talking about illegal immigrants, can we talk about economy as an economy and say how much of the illegitimate economic activities are happening on our ground? And if you want to kill the snake on its head, the Chinese have destroyed your clothing and textile industry.
That is true.
Agree to that.
We've known that for a long time.
When you are looking to kill those that are taking employment, what are you doing about those that are killing production? I mean, Gates and McKenzie, he's just started a beautiful program in the Karoo.
Beautiful program.
Come on, let's give him. Let's give give him a round of applause.
No, definitely. All the time.
Give him a hand, my brother.
No, McKenzie is doing amazing work.
If ANC could learn from that young man, and begin to say you've been in power for all these years, you can't even finish the bucket system, and fix up your municipalities that are within your hands. What are we talking about? We cannot be putting cotton wool and putting ribbons on the face of a dead donkey, hoping it won't smell.
I want to ask you a question. Who is meant to drive the conversation? And when are we going to sit down and discuss the borders? Either removing them, shifting them, getting rid of maybe passports, and creating some other type of system where we're not talking, let's say, illegal, so to speak, but we're speaking, look, this is how you move into this space so that we can all, specifically as Africans, get along together. Because if we're going to wait for our captured politicians, obviously it's not going to happen. If we're going to wait for white people and the Queen, it's not going to happen. So who's meant to drive that conversation and when? Is it meant to be us? Is it meant to be the EFF and Julius Mali? Because as long as we're not having that conversation, these fights are going to carry on. And you're right, we're going to keep hitting the tail of the snake, and we're going to keep ignoring the head. Because people say, well, the head is giving us jobs, but you don't realize they're causing more destruction.
I put a statement this afternoon on my page which says, you are what I'm waiting for, and I am what you are waiting for. Who will drive the conversation? You will drive the conversation.
Yeah.
I will drive the conversation. That's a point of departure.
Sure.
But most importantly, we need to understand the nature of our African politics. We cannot begin to discuss borders before we discuss economy. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If we remove the borders right now,
Sure.
the academic mindset of the educated African
Yes.
will quickly migrate where they can get jobs.
100%.
So what you see right now, if you remove the borders,
Sure.
the doctors that are in Zimbabwe, the engineers that are in Zimbabwe, all the professionals that are in Zimbabwe will walk in here into South Africa, more qualified, more experienced than many of your CEOs, many of your CFOs, many of your engineers, and then they will flood, almost put, and only the residue of that can begin to move out. It's not safe.
Because South Africa's got the better whites.
So it's not safe to remove the borders.
Okay.
What is
Before
safe,
we discuss the economy.
what is safe, it is to create economic hubs.
Okay.
First, within the region. Particularly, I speak to the one stock exchange in Africa,
Okay.
which then allows all the minerals within the continent to come to one stock exchange and be sold at a legitimate price at an international level. And individual countries can benefit 100% of their own resources. This actually gives the boost to the economy. And once the economies of the various countries are running in place, you will not risk having the migration of the intellectuals towards the space where there is infrastructure. But now they can be swallowed back into their own countries. We can talk firstly about economic hub. Secondly is the academic facilities,
Yes.
where we begin to educate each other to respond to the resources that are found in each region. In other words, the mining, the sugar plantations, the farming, and etc. Create an academic program that responds directly to the resources that are available there.
This is why you want us to be killed, Mas. Because this is what Gaddafi was doing.
We cannot avoid Gaddafi. We will meet him on the other hand.
Ninangifaki mina.
Amagwala wangena ezulwini. I met another guy who says, hey, one day I'm going to fly to heaven. You know what I'm saying? How can you fly to heaven when you're having the scale of climbing a ladder and you're changing a globe?
Come on.
You can't even get on the roof of a house.
Come on.
And then you want to go to the third heaven.
Sure.
You're scared of heights. You can't go anywhere, chief.
Are you saying we need to carry on where Gaddafi left? Because he was building a united Africa. He was looking for a united African currency. And what was going to follow was obviously a stock exchange. And then these economic hubs, which some of the work is being done in the East. I think all Kagame are trying.
Let me make a
Places
declaration.
like Rwanda.
Yeah, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and etc.
I know the Eastern Bloc is making some good
They've already cleared borders. You can move with your ID.
Yes.
And do business.
Sure.
So goods and services can begin to move around. I'm not joking. By the way, let me tell this to Ramaphosa on his face.
He's not going to be president for long, so tell him quick.
Yeah, but if Ramaphosa and Honorable Mnangagwa and Masisi and Mswati can just agree that in this region, can we allow the movement of goods? Can you imagine the people in Zimbabwe right now who have the money,
Yeah.
but don't have the goods?
You guys still trade in dollars, American dollars.
We're trading dollars. Imagine when the borders are lifted, the amount of money that will move into South Africa,
Yeah.
and the amount of goods that will move out of Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
and the jobs that will be created right here, and all that is hinging on a trade policy, border control, so that this one on the other side is the money, this side is the product. But then you put the government legislative framework that the one who has money cannot access the goods, and when you bring the goods, there are tariffs and etc. Just lift up the borders and see how much business. In other words, at the end of the day, what you can buy in Johannesburg for $10,
Sure.
rand, sorry, you can buy in Swaziland for $10. What you can buy in South Africa for 20 rand, you can buy in Namibia for 20 rand.
Sure.
It immediately, because it doesn't make sense that Swazis are buying petrol from South Africa, but petrol is cheaper in Swaziland.
Of course. Politicians are not going to agree to what you're saying because it takes away their
They have
power.
never been employed by us.
That is true. That is
So
very true.
politicians' allegiance is not to the people.
Yes.
Politics is a prostitute of economics.
Yes.
Politics is a prostitute of economics.
Yes.
Politicians are managed by those that give them money.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, a politician is not there to protect the people that vote him into power. A politician is there to protect the people that put him into power.
That's true.
And multinationals, why are we talking about the 2 billion that was circulating in Nazareth? What do you think that was for? Toilet paper?
Would you like something else to drink?
No, I'm just asking.
You and I would speak forever. We need to shut down this live, right?
Yeah. But good people, man.
And I wanted to come and see how you're doing, man. I was worried about you, but I can see
well.
the energy is still the same.
You did well, man.
I'm busy to do that.
But when on credit for a cannier,
Huh?
which means on credit for a cannier, which means weeds don't die easily.
Oh, I like that very much. You know, I was telling someone recently that, you know, we sometimes miss the lessons. A weed doesn't need fertile soil. A weed doesn't need water. A weed can grow in tar. I'm like, I think we're idolizing the wrong things.
The plant can die.
The plant can die.
And imagine if our food was in weeds.
Yes, we never go hungry because it doesn't even need an invitation.
This is where we talk about indigenous plants, indigenous crops that are actually drought resistant.
This is why monkeys and chimpanzees don't suffer, because they're not waiting for farms and woolworths.
And if we could adapt a diet similar to goats,
Yeah,
which are one of our favorite, and they're drought resistant animals,
sure.
and if we can look around what goats are eating, and we go into the stomach of a goat, and you guys who are scientists and say, what is it that they're eating? And find out those shrubs.
Sure.
Maybe we don't need. And by the way, this one for the road. Now that Russia and Ukraine have gone into war, bread is shooting through the roof. I want to recommend to Africans, change your diet.
Yes,
Then you will not declare a crisis which is not there.
100%.
So
Such a simple solution.
We don't have to be thinking that bread is the diet, because once you put your,
If wheat is expensive,
if you get your,
change your diet.
If you get your appetite colonized, then anything that is any variant on your appetite is translated into a strike on your side.
Yes.
Because you are like an animal that has been conditioned to eat certain things. And
Of course.
Now I remove the stimulant.
Now you go hungry, you die.
No, there is hunger. There's no bread. There's no. Hey, Rafik, we can make bread from our corn. We can eat our sweet potatoes. We can eat our traditional foods. We can still convert other products that we have into
Yes.
breakfasts and etc. So that when they say bread is not available, we say, oh, don't worry.
Don't worry.
We don't have to worry about bread.
We don't have to eat bread.
We can still eat other things and survive. But
Yes.
unfortunately, the African child who has gone to school,
Our diet
there's
has
no
been
breakfast,
colonized. Jeez.
There's no breakfast without bread.
Would you say the same thing quickly for petrol and electricity?
This is what,
Should we create new diets around
No,
dependency on electricity and petrol?
you heard me twice. You have the University of Vets, University of Cape Town,
Sure.
University of Johannesburg, University of Technology in Pretoria. Are you telling me that up to now you have no solution for petrol? We go on the internet.
Sure.
You're seeing all these technologies in Uganda, in Nigeria, where boys are coming up with new innovations
Sure.
around water, around
Very true.
solar energies, and small little hybrid cars are already there.
Yes.
If I was in power, I would take the University of Vets, University of UG,
Yes.
pay 7-10 million.
Yeah.
Say, professor, go there, buy the technology.
Sure.
Get that student there who has discovered this thing. Bring him to the university here.
Sure.
Let's do our own hybrid. Sign some papers for IP. For every car that we sell, be a billionaire also. And harvest the content of the African imagination and innovation.
Sure.
And create new solutions for what you are calling crises. For me, they are opportunities.
Maponga, thank you so much. This wasn't actually meant to be an interview. I just wanted to ask you how you're doing, but thank you so much.
But Panuel being Panuel, you can't help him. He just had to drag this.
Let me shut
But
it
nice
down.
to see you, man. Nice to see you.
Let me close this thing. Thanks, guys.